Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Rosenblog podcast. I'd like to welcome Mo Eltahir on.
Hi, guys. It's great to be back again.
So last week, Mo and I broke down our thoughts on some of the biggest deals from this season's crazy trade deadline. But this episode, we'll be touching on the MVP race, some of our thoughts on the top title contenders, and our favorite bandwagon team. So let's start with the MVP race. With about 20 games left in the regular season, there's no clear favorite in my mind. There are 5 very strong candidates. You've got Anthony Davis, who is posting the highest player efficiency rating in history this season.
What seed are the Pelicans?
We'll get back to that.
10th?
We'll get back to that.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook, who has been absolutely incredible with Kevin Durant out for the Thunder.
God.
LeBron James, who is LeBron James, and then Stephen Curry and James Harden, who seem to be the real favorites. So let's start with that kind of second tier of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook. Tell me why none of these guys deserve to win the MVP, Mo?
I mean, LeBron James, I think he just would never win or he won't win anytime soon just because of the fact that he's already won 4, and it's so clear that he's the greatest player on earth, and it's not really close. People are kind of tired of that narrative, and it's decided by the media. So I don't think.
But let me ask you: do you actually think that he's having the best season right now and just won't win because he always wins? Do you actually think he's having a better season than these other guys?
I think my second point. I think if it wasn't for the second point, that he would be in serious consideration. He took a 2-week vacation to go to Miami, hang out with a few of his trainer buddies, and make a couple of trades, which actually were fairly valuable for the team in the long term.
LeBron, that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed kind of eerie that they happened at the same time. You can decide or not how much he was involved, but I think because of that 2-week vacation stint, I don't think he can take the MVP. With Davis, yeah, he plays on the 10th seed, and I mean, there have been tons of players who have been good stats, bad team players. And until Davis can prove that he's not just a good stats, bad team player, I don't think he can really be dubbed valuable.
All right, hold on, Mo. So, yes, the Pelicans are not currently in the playoff standing, but they are currently the 9th seed and a half game behind the Thunder for being a playoff team.
Are they ahead of the Phoenix Suns now?
Yeah, because the Suns have fallen apart since those deadline trades, but they're a half game behind the Thunder for being a playoff team. Davis's numbers this year are crazy. You know, I think 26 points a game, double-digit rebounds, leading the league in blocks. He's the best big man in the league. You can't argue that. Best big man in the league. I think
certain men in the greater Los Angeles area who may or may not have something to say about that.
All right. But he's, 22, 23?
Sure.
His numbers are ridiculous for his age, but ridiculous for anyone.
Anthony Davis?
Yeah, Anthony Davis.
Oh, he's probably just 21.
Okay, yeah, you might be right on that, but for someone his age, Davis's numbers are ridiculous, and the Pelicans, to their credit, are a surprising team above 500 right in the thick of the playoff race.
I mean, he gets a lot of help. Eric Gordon, although he's had an atrocious season, Tyreek Evans, Drew Holiday, Ryan Anderson. I mean, these are all good rotation players. They got Quincy Pondexter on the bench, Jimmer Fredette. I mean, none of these players are going to make you say, wow, but this is a fairly decent supporting cast.
Is it, though?
I feel like he should be doing more.
But for the Western Conference, is that a good supporting cast? I mean, compare it to any other of those top 9 teams. I bet that the Pelicans have easily the weakest supporting cast among them.
Rockets may be a little bit weaker, given how much Dwight's been in and out this season. But
Terrence Jones,
I think
I don't know.
I think definitely. I think Davis is out of consideration, though, because his team is making the playoffs.
I mean, I'm with you. I don't think Davis should win MVP, but I think he's a compelling candidate. I think he's having a remarkable season.
All right. And then the last one, and I mean, he's really making a run for it, Russell Westbrook. Yeah. I mean, he's knocking on the door right now.
Yeah, playing out of his mind.
If KD, is gone for another 2 or 3 weeks, and he keeps just devouring history with each dunk he makes and, all these crazy triple-doubles he's getting and everything he's doing, there isn't a legitimate reason why he wouldn't be considered an MVP candidate. I just don't think he's quite there yet.
Yeah. I mean, Westbrook is still having his, 25, 30-shot nights. But the difference with Westbrook this season is you can't argue he's not a distributor. He's one of the league's assist leaders. And
he's just, I mean, there's no stat behind it, but he is, probably, he took the championship belt probably from Kenneth Faried for being just the going hard every single play, just zipping up and down the... He's playing like I said he couldn't play basketball or something. He's just mad, and it's amazing to watch. It's very hard.
Yeah, he's got to be the most terrifying player in the league to defend. I mean, he had 4 consecutive triple-doubles. First player to do that since Oscar Robertson. Sorry. And these are not, Rajon Rondo, 10-point, 12 rebound, 11 assist games. They're
probably
45
points.
Yeah, he's putting up unbelievable numbers.
He's knocking on the door, but to get to the 2 contenders who we have different opinions on who the favorite among them is, out west, Stephen Curry with the shot, and my boy, the resident NBA villain, James Harden. So, you got Curry. I'll let you make your case first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare Curry's stats this season to last season, it's not a huge jump. You might be initially a bit surprised that he's vaulted into
shooting numbers might have gone down a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, that he's vaulted into the MVP conversation this year, but Curry is so key to the Warriors' success. The Warriors have been incredible all season long, playing in one of the toughest conferences in history and just smoking teams night in and night out. And one of the most telling stats about Curry, I think, is that with him on the floor, the Warriors have outscored opponents by 486 points this season. And with him off the floor, they've been outscored by, I think it's in the 50s. And I've seen several Warriors games take, recently when they played the Celtics, where Curry leaves, they fall way behind, and then he comes on and just electrifies the entire team. Pops a 3, dishes it to Draymond Green, dishes it to Klay Thompson, gets them going, gets Maurice Spates involved. So I think that while his numbers haven't improved incredibly from last year, maybe just a little bit more efficient, he is so key to the Warriors' transformation into surprisingly the best team in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really saw this Golden State team coming. But when you take a step back and look, I mean, first I'll make my argument for Harden by saying why I don't think Curry may be as valid as a candidate. Obviously, he's amazing. The on and off numbers are what they are, and it's very, very compelling. But when you look at what he has built around him, I think Curry has a much greater foundation, and it might not be very close. I mean, first of all, they've got the Coach of the Year candidate in Kerr, who's just been amazing this season, the way he's gotten to move the ball and all these different things. And on the defensive side, he's been really great. But also, if you just look at their roster, they've got Andre Iguodala on the bench. I mean, I don't know what Jedi mind tricks that Kerr used. They've got Sean Livingston waiting in the wings for when Curry gets tired. Klay Thompson has been like a beast this season. He's going 21, 3 and 3.
The 37-point quarter, which is one of the best NBA moments.
Probably of this year.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't think of a better one. He's shooting above 42%, both from 3 and the field. In still being a pretty good defensive beast. I mean, Curry stepped up his defense. And then there's Draymond Green, who's a whole nother monster, defensive player of the year candidate. Harrison Barnes is probably one of the best fourth options on any team in the NBA. They've got Barbosa, who's a good chemistry guy. Bogut,
incredible rim
one
protector.
of the best rim protectors in the league.
Also, quick trivia. Mo, who is the Warriors' third leading scorer?
Draymond?
Maurice Spates, believe it or not.
Maurice Spates has had, flamethrowers attached to his arms this season. I mean, it's still pretty amazing now, but earlier in the season, he was shooting, 75% off, all mid-range jumpers. That guy is just good for him. They're having a great team season, and I'm not sure if you've seen any of the videos, but they've been having a great time on the plane in between games. They're really on all accounts having a great season.
I think Spates is a 6th Man of the Year candidate for sure, but that's besides the point.
And then I'm going to begin with my argument for Harden because I can say a bunch of things and go into a lot of stats, but I think the most telling thing is just reading off some of the names of the people he gets to play with. Starting point guard, Patrick Beverley, a man who scores 10 points a game and dishes out 3.5 assists. Let's see, their 6th man. Right now, I think you could say it's Corey Brewer, 12 points, 3 rebounds. Terrence Jones has been playing well since the All-Star break, which has been kind of a heaven for him. Dwight Howard for knee problems, heavy air quotes there. There's been some miscellaneous stuff going on with a child or whatnot. He's been gone for approximately 20 of the 52 games they've played up to this point, and they're still 3rd place in the murderer's row of Western conferences. Let's see, we've got Kostas Papanikolaou, the Greek crime boss. Pablo Prigioni now plays for this team, and if that wasn't enough, they round out their rotation with Josh Smith, who still likes his 3-point shot and is shooting... Oh, he's actually only shooting 31% from 3. That's better than I expected, but, I mean, he's only scored 11 points per game since he moved to the Rockets. I mean, the roster really speaks for itself. It's kind of a trash heap. If you replaced James Harden with some sort of, league average guy, they're not doing that well. And, I mean, here's where my true argument lies. On the offensive side of the ball, he's definitely the best player in the NBA today. He's leading the league in scoring, not to mention he's dishing out like a point guard.
Gets to the line at will.
Yeah, he gets to the line to the ire of the rest of the team, and I'm not sure if it's going to carry over to the playoffs.
Right, but that's key for them.
Yeah, it is, and he stayed grabbing 6 rebounds a game, 2 steals. I mean, he's really doing it all, and not only is he the best offensive player, and he's been really keeping them afloat in these games, but they've been hovering around the 3 spot for defensive efficiency in the NBA this year.
They were awful defensively last year.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much he came in last season as this joke of a defender. Everyone's seen James Harden defensive juggernaut at this point.
Yeah, 13 minutes long.
I mean, everybody gave him so much crap last year that he came back and he's just been astute defensively. I'm not gonna say he's elite, but he's been much more giving much more effort, and he's definitely toned down his body and stuff like that. And I honestly think when you're the best offensive player in the year and you've been an integral part of making your team one of the premier defensive teams in the NBA, not to mention you have Kevin McHale, who's kind of a meh coach, I think that it's definitely James Harden is the MVP just because of what he brings on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I'm with you in that I've been incredibly impressed with what Harden's done this year. I mean, he's a much better passer than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
He's one of the best in the league at drawing the defense to him and then flinging cross-court passes for corner threes.
Yeah.
And his improvement on defense is remarkable. Recent game when the Rockets took down the Cavs, LeBron shot 15 for 35, and that was because Trevor Ariza was playing great defense, but when the Cavs switched LeBron off Ariza to Harden was still getting in his face, forcing him into misses, making him frustrated.
That was probably one of the best, one of the better games of the season. Definitely possible finals preview.
Yeah, with Cavs. LeBron choking 3 for 11 from free throws.
But also just some of the stuff with the fouls and just animosity. And I don't know, the Rockets have definitely taken on that mantle as the NBA's villain team, which is actually kind of nice to have. I don't know.
I'm totally with you. I think Harden has transformed this year. I agree he does not have as good a supporting cast as Curry does. Another reason, though, that I advocate for Curry as MVP this year is that when you remember this year, you're going to remember Stephen Curry. He's taken the league by storm. He's doing things with the basketball that you don't see done in games. You see them done on the playground. He had a backwards through the legs dribble to blow by Westbrook this year.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was just, he's definitely just on a whole nother level in terms of skill. I'll give you that.
Yeah, just dominates the highlight reels night in and night out. So I've been incredibly impressed by Harden and Curry this year, but I would give the slight edge to Curry still in my mind.
And obviously, yeah, I would say these are two both very legitimate candidates, and I mean, I don't think there's a wrong opinion in between the two. I would just say my last thing is, and maybe this isn't the most advanced statistical argument, but when on any given day, when you just and the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors are playing different games, when you look at the box score and you see what the two players are doing, I've been surprised at the amount of times this season I've just opened up the Rockets game box score and seen that Harden dropped 40 on a random team on a Wednesday night. And meanwhile, there's some games where, Curry will only score 11 points and they'll still get the win and it's fine because of how good the surrounding cast is. But I think in the end, if you just took away both these players and replaced them with a run-of-the-mill guy from a league average guy in their position, I think the Rockets probably turn into something closer to the Timberwolves or the 76ers. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors probably turn into something closer to the Phoenix Suns, which isn't really, or the Phoenix Suns pre-trade, which isn't really that bad of a team. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we may not agree on the MVP race, but something I'm sure we can agree on is it would be so great to see these guys face off in the playoffs. Imagine if, the Warriors remain the 1 seed, the Rockets remain the 3 seed, the Rockets upset the Grizzlies, and then you have Curry and Harden having just incredible scoring duels throughout the conference finals. And with Howard back especially, I think that would be a series for the ages.
Yeah, I mean, Howard's definitely it doesn't get talked about a lot because he's just not around a lot of the time, but he's definitely been having a down season. But, he really brought it in the Portland series last year, and here's hoping that he can do the same for the whatever playoff series is play out this year.
So there you have it. My MVP pick, Stephen Curry of the Warriors, and Mo is going with James Harden of the Houston Rockets. Thanks for listening.